Howdy everyone, I'm Cory with Art's Really Cool. Today is the 19th video in the Choo Choo Train collaboration. Choo choo! Okay, so today I'm going to paint over this painting. I love the gradient on the background that Adrian did, but the ring pour or whatever you did, the cup pour, didn't turn out as beautiful as we might have liked. So I, rather than not use the canvas, am going to use the canvas. But I've got to tape off the back really quick. I know there's already paint on the back, but if I end up resining this, it would just be easier to already be painted, or be taped. So bear with me while I put this on. Maybe Adrian can speed it up super fast. We don't talk about this part very often in our videos, so I just thought, hey, maybe I should get back to the beginning, being a little bit more informative in my videos. I like to think that I was more entertaining and that's why people watched, but let's be real, I'm not that entertaining. You want to make sure that at least part of each piece goes over the next piece so that when you take it off, it makes it easier to lift it. Lift and shift. Bend and snap. Like I was saying, the most important reason why I'm doing this is in case I resin. Makes it so much easier to get the resin drop that show up on the back of a piece that you resin. You can see right here on these coasters, there are those big drops. Like if I didn't have tape on the back of this, I wouldn't be able to get those off very easily, if at all. And then I just clean it up real quick like. These scissors are the worst. They're so bad. They basically aren't even scissors. They're just pokey metal pieces. I try to make only one side go all the way off if I can get away with it, so that I waste a little less tape. But it's not catastrophic if you go over a little. As my mom would say, itchiness, itchiness, itchiness. I need to get my hair cut so bad. It is so long and so unruly. Alright, so now I gotta put my push pins in real quick. Alright, and oftentimes we've used these before, so they have like a layer of paint or resin or something on the head of it, and I just use one to get it off of the other. Use the tools you have. I don't know where. Is that Boy Scouts? I don't know where that's from.
No.
I haven't looked at the camera in like 100 minutes, so sorry about that.
We forgive you.
All right, and the reason I get that off there is because now it for sure is flat again. Well, it's slightly rounded, but flat in the most part. You gotta be careful not to stab yourself with the push pin, though, of course.
Hey guys, this is Adrian.
And this is Cory.
Oh, come on, Cory.
Okay, this is Cory.
Yeah, so we're here to remind you to leave a like.
And maybe a comment.
And I guess you could share it if you feel like it.
Or you could even subscribe.
Yeah, that too. Subscribing is good, because that's good for the algorithm, I think.
And our egos.
Yeah, especially those. Those are important. Okay, bye.
Then, what I do is I take the corners where they meet, line up, move it in a little ways, and then I just push it in, and normally that gets it between the boards and makes it not the most painful to push in.
Only a little.
If you push it directly into one board, like a solid board, it can become very difficult to move in and it can be very painful. You can't see this, but you can hear it. What I do is I just push on it, and if I can hear it moving like that, that means that one maybe got in a little farther than the other. So I just find where the part I push on moves. So like if the one corner over here, if I push it and that's where it's making that movement, I just pull that push pin out just a little bit, and then now I can tap it and it's solid. Also, because this canvas has been used, I need to prep it a little bit more because it is a little loose. So like I want it to be more of a drum sound. So I need to wet the back of this canvas with just regular water. Make sure you, if you're using a spray bottle anyways, make sure you spray like around the edges here so that it gets back there too. And then I'm just gonna take a hair dryer, put it on hot, and dry it back out. And it's important for me to have this attachment. Ooh, it's super hot. Oh, it's so hot right now. Ow, it's so hot.
So hot.
But that lets me aim it into those creases or behind the board. And now it sounds like a drum. What I am doing is I'm going to, like I said, paint over this canvas, right?
Oh my God, please.
But I am determined now to get pearl paints to work for me. So I ChatGPT'd it, but I Googled it, essentially. I ChatGPT'd to find out what it is that I'm doing wrong. And what I think it is the stuff that it's not working on as well is the stuff that I'm blowing out. And it can't be mixed per se, or it doesn't really work. So all of the things like the last painting that I did in Painting's Really Cool, that didn't work. Or, well, you'll see it because that's going to come after this video, actually, I think. But it didn't work the way I wanted it to. And so I am going to do layered cups. I'm going to do these little layered cups. I'm going to do a few layers of the paint. I'm going to have a black base, and then I'll do a little bit of stretching, and I might do a gentle swipe, but I need to keep the layers thin so that they'll show through because they're transparent, and so mixing them kind of makes them all just have the same sheen basically, which of course a Dutch pour does that. It mixes pretty well. And so I'm going to do a very gently layered handful of these cups and pour them, and hopefully that will turn out. I'll do a little bit of tilting to get a composition I like, but I will not do a ton. I might do a little bit of wrecking. Just a little bit to give some more interest, and maybe a swipe to see how that worked. I didn't check in on that.
Hi, Daredevil.
But I've got my pearl paints over here, my purple,
My purple. My purple.
my green, my blue, blues, my yellow, and my red. These are all Amsterdam, and then I'm going to use Artist Loft Metallic Black as the overall base. So I don't know if I do it in this video normally, but with the magic of editing, I'm going to be standing. Alright, hopefully everything's recording, so here we go. First I'm going to pour my metallic black down. If I need any more, I have it in a squeezy bottle right there. Okay, and then I'm going to just stretch this a little bit. I'm going to keep it on the canvas for the most part. You can see a hair. Bring it back to the center. I'm going to torch it real quick. This pops the air bubbles that often get put in there when you're mixing your paints. And I did just re-stir that because I made that a while ago, but I re-stirred it to make sure it was fresh. And so now I'm going to make different layers of pearl paint. But I'm going to shake up my little squeezy bottles because the paints, they'll separate from the Floetrol when they're in there. These were used not that long ago, but I just want to make sure that they're nice and mixed. So this, of course, is creating a bunch of air bubbles, and also always causes them to ooze when I open them.
Miscellaneous ooze.
But it's much easier to do it this way than to try to mix them outside of this thing. Okay, so I have got color combos that I'm going to do. The one color combo is blue, purple, green, and since I'm not mixing the paints, they shouldn't turn muddy. And then I'm going to do a blue, purple, red, a blue, yellow, green, a red, yellow, green, and a blue, yellow, red. So I'm just going to put thin layers, and I'm pouring it at an angle because that will allow the paint to slide down onto each other and rest upon each other rather than mix with each other. So this is a layered cup, or ring cup. If I wanted to do what's called a dirty pour, I would just like pour it all in directly from the top and let it mix in the cup. But I don't want that. So when I first saw these used, they were used by Molly's Artistry. That was the only channel I used to know about until Adrian decided to make this art channel. And then I started meeting all of the other artists. So sad news, but our friends Janice and Julie have deboarded the train. They're going back to doing something they used to do back in the day. Weekly premieres and whatnot has just not been the most fun for them for the way their lives are structured right now. So they decided to deboard, and we are sad to see them go, but we're happy that they're making the best choice for them. But we are welcoming a new train. I don't know if we're conductors or just passengers, or I don't know. But yeah, maybe we're engineers. So he's the newest engineer, passenger, conductor, I don't know.
Who knows?
Nobody knows. Alright, so let's just pour this out. I'm just doing a simple ring pour. I'm rotating the cup a little bit to kind of shift the way the colors will appear, potentially. And then we're done with that. Okay, and then I think this is going to be similar to either a painting I think Adrian did before, where he did a few ring pours and then he tied them together with wrecking, I think. There was blue involved. I don't know where that painting is, if it was sold or we still have it. We have an art show coming up this weekend, so I will find out where it is pretty soon. So I meant to pour these out the same side that I created them from, but I only did that for the middle one so far. This one. I keep forgetting to look and it's hard to see. Those little droplets, when it's normal color paint, can really make a crazy design. So I don't know if they'll do much of anything with the pearl paint, but we're trying. Alright. Oh, that made it in the cup. Now, I am going to try to swipe with Australian Flow. Just a little swipe through these with the tiny palette knife. I cannot find my little middle one, so I'll just use this little plastic one. So, stir this up real quick. Slide it around. Make sure the palette knife is coated. And then get all the excess off. Since this is an opaque color, it could take over, so I want to make sure I've got just the tiniest bit. And then alright, clean it off, do another swipe. And Australian Floetrol is not cheap, so I always try to use it super sparingly. See the lacing, which is good, but we'll see what happens when it dries, if the color comes through or not. So I read that a simple swipe would be fine in theory. I'll believe it when I see it. So when you swipe, you put the palette knife just on the surface of the paint and you tilt it ever so slightly, trying to make sure you don't get in the paint, like I did there, and I dipped my hand in the base paint a little bit. Good thing it was just the base paint. And basically what you're doing is you're taking this mixture with the Australian Floetrol, which is what's causing the activation of these cells and the lacing, and you're just dragging it over the top of your other paints that don't have the Australian Flow in them. And that it's just on the surface, so it's pulling it along, but it's causing that cellular reaction while it's going. But again, you have to have it like just sitting on the surface and tilt it slightly so you're not scooping the paint, you're dragging over the paint. Alright, and then to get the most out of a swipe, you have to stretch it after, which we'll do.
Oh, good.
We have to keep it minimal so that the pearl paints work, supposedly. but we do need to stretch it. And so I was kind of trying to make it look like either hearts or balloons, but I'll be tilting it a decent amount to get good stretching. So first I'm going to find where the weight of the paint is. So I think it's down over here, so I'm going to go this way first. And I'm just going to get it to go off the edge and bring it back. And because it's over here, I'm going to go to this edge next and bring it back. And I'm going to take it all the way to this other corner, bring it back, and take it off this corner, and then bring it back. Now I'm just getting the right composition. And because this painting had another painting under it that was a ring pour on top of a hand painted section, you can see like a line. So I'm hoping that won't show too dramatically. Normally I would use canvas by sanding it a little, but that wouldn't have fixed the overall issue of that. Basically, it's like a second layer that exists. Right now I am doing what's called touching up the sides, because as you can see, the paint didn't get on all of the sides. Typically how you do this is you just dab the paint on there with your finger, and that will make sure this necklace doesn't get in it, and that will fill in the empty spaces. I like to swipe underneath first to pick up any paint that's still attached, and just lift my finger up and attach the paint that way. Otherwise, I scoop it from underneath the side. That specifically, I like to scoop underneath the area, but if it's missing from an area, oftentimes there's no paint under it. But like if you scoop it from the area, then it should match more closely and not look like it's been touched up. But this is going to be mixed because the paints are mixed. So alright, here we go. Now let's look. Can we see any colors already? Not yet. I see color over here, but this is from the original painting, so that may end up needing to be hand painted if I end up liking this. So I'll get you in for a wet shot here, and then in a few seconds you'll get to see if it worked. I have to wait at least 24 hours. Here is the wet version. Right here you can still see that color from the original painting, and it's because that pearl paint is translucent, or transparent, not translucent, transparent. But right now you can see where these swipes were. You can see the solid vein or webbing lacing, but you can't see any colors just yet. So fingers crossed. But I do like this side a little more than this side, but overall I think it's kind of cool. So fingers crossed that the colors actually show. Alright, see you in a second. Okay, so here's the dried version, and yet again, still can't win with this so much. You can see the colors a little bit better over here, but this right here that you can see is actually from the original painting. The black didn't stay, plus I used metallic black, which I think is a little bit transparent. But you can see kind of some of the colors, but they're really faint, so maybe I used another one too many layers. But I mean, like I said, you can kind of see some of the colors, but overall it's really kind of underwhelming. So we'll give it a go, I guess, some other time. Maybe we'll make it, but hope you enjoyed. Bye.